Just a quick notice, I have been ill for 3 months now, and this is never going to sound better than it currently does. I've had this footage on my hard drive for about a year and a half. It pretty much has to get slapped together now and put out, or it's just never going to get made. So, let's go. Dumb question. Can you beat Metal Gear Solid PeaceWalker using only handguns? Now don't panic, I'll explain. PeaceWalker is a game with an extensive base development system and many explosive and high caliber weapons to unlock. So naturally, you'd have to be a fool to try and beat the game with some of the weakest weapons it has, right? Oh yeah, right. The rules are simple. I have to play Metal Gear Solid PeaceWalker from post-tutorial to PeaceWalker 3 using all the weapons in the handgun category. And that also includes the Grade 3 strike marker because I'll be needing it. And if you're wondering, how will I compress all of these missions down? Getting started, I do a rusty blitz through the jungle and the communication base before being sent to meet some rebels. So I head off while scrubbing some soldiers until I get to a boathouse. I don't actually know how you're supposed to get a boat into that house though. I do a quick and messy loop around the storage shed, get caught with my pants down, twice, and then make contact with Amanda. Afterwards, troops are assigned and I begin research on one of the very limited improvements I can make to Snake's M1911. With the housekeeping done, it's time to attend to an optional mission. Starting off with the extra ops, I do the full-time tutorial and rescue everyone I can from mosquito hell. Returning to the main story, there are scary, dangerous yellow cakes to find. So instead I scramble into the boathouse to pursue those stunning confidential documents. This angers the locals, including Danny Catarax. After everyone's been given a course of chemical meditation, I send them back to Mother Base for therapy and move on to a swamp, which incidentally is where malaria is made. I evacuate a very lost soldier and double back through the ravine to where I started the last mission. Here, I leave Gaz and Baz looking like something fell off the back of the van. Just kidding, Baz gets to live. Returning to the ravine, I cross a very well built bridge, pass through another swamp, pick up some more confidential documents, and teach one lucky man the art of a wrestling massage before sending him back to base quickly for critical treatment. Finally arriving at the sorting shed, I save a very flowery looking gentleman, Banana Man's #1 fan, and their research papers on extremely basic firearms. After grabbing some new duds, I press onwards. It's about time for the first boss battle. Unsurprisingly, the Peace Sentinels are not best pleased with my interference. The BTR is a crew-escorted infantry fighting vehicle with a turret-mounted heavy machine gun and an all-wheel drive system. This fight is clearly intended to be beaten with the rocket launchers provided by the FSLN, but those aren't available to me, so I initially go for the sneaky route and start playing peekaboo with the soldiers. The losers get free drugs and a working holiday abroad. Eventually I get discovered due to my C in stealth, but that's fine. I need to talk about how to damage these things. As you may have noticed, all of the mech bosses have incredibly large red fuel tanks on them. These take bonus damage and eventually explode, which stalls the boss for a short while. The tanks aren't the only vulnerable spot on a BTR though. Every boss has weak points, and I just have to exploit those. The wheels are also weak spots in this case, so I aim for those. The damage isn't fantastic, but I don't want to go for total destruction anyway. The commander, who turns out to be Gaz, eventually pops out of the hatch on top like an almighty idiot. So I play peekaboo some more and knock him out, becoming the proud owner of a slightly pre-loved troop transport. Back home, I unlock the medical team, the sick bay, and stuff Amanda in there for the rest of the game. which incidentally is about how long it takes to heal a broken leg in real life. I reorganise the boys around the new team and unlock the ability to produce Kazuhiro brand tortilla chips, a tasty snack that always bites back. Next up is the section of the game where we need to rescue our little buddy Chico. I start being slightly pickier with who gets to join MSF at this point, mainly aiming for C ranks and above. This sniper training area is very important to the run, as I'll explain later. It's also the location for an S rank intel operative, the sniper, but you need a very late game bolt-on launcher to snag him, which is out of my reach, and also a rocket launcher. The town is fairly easy to navigate, so I just play knock-a-door, run around, and check all the blue doors until I find Chico. First time, totally. Kaz got weird ideas from all that door checking, so I let him start a delivery service. More importantly, I also unlocked the support, supply and strike markers, which are very important, as well as the database and intel teams, which are less important. The MSF staff come up with the idea of making our own C4 as well, but everyone also gets sick of Kazuhiro brand import rations, so I rearranged the teams to solve the issue, swapping our supplier to McDonald's via airmail. It's time to get back on the trail of those yellow cakes, which I am now informed are not in fact lemon drizzle cake, but highly illegal fission materials. My dinner is ruined, and my cancer levels immeasurable. Whilst it's only a small jump to the factory outskirts, I double back instead, as this portion of the game loves to hide things at the very start of the region. I do a sweep for bolt-on candidates on my way there, where a sniper almost wins peek-a-bang, and I make the long and boring trip backwards. Arriving at the factory, I carefully sneak my way past the loading area, spook a guard, and save a man in yellow pyjamas. I, for once, remember about the guard on the walkway, but after saving Private Canary over here, the other walkway guard sees me, so I book it inside before he can radio an alert. As Big Boss has only one eye, and thus no object permanence, this solves the problem. Inside the factory, I find out that trick won't work anymore, and hide inside a very large, inconspicuous pink shipping box instead. That somehow gets fooled, despite being an obviously foolproof plan. Why yes, I will be speaking with a solicitor. Thankfully, judo bullshit is in fact foolproof, as are the world's noisiest knockout darts. Outside the factory, I can almost taste those sweet yellow cakes, so I make an awful lot of noise subduing more idiots. But, somehow, I have run out of rounds. With no other means of self-defense, I employ the ancient art of slung-do.
What's going on over there?
Unfortunately, the Peace Sentinels are absolutely sick of my this point and are all too happy to let me know about it. Why yes, I am in fact absolutely certain I can beat up a tank. Back on Mumbai base I unlock the M60, which is the machine gun with the most satisfying cyclical rate of all time, and the Sonic Eye, which is the most unsatisfying gadget of all time. MSF builds a new platform, and I readjust soldiers to fix morale problems and enable development of the Rank 2 Analyzer. Back in the main story, I swap to the naked DPM camo and try to be sneaky. This goes terribly, as I have a camo index of, hey, look over here. The biggest difference between the tank and the BTR is that the tank is not an IFV, it is a tank. It has a high caliber gun that hurts a lot. It also does not have a crew hold. This means the guards will be flashbanging their way out of every door in the area, like a guest reception at Chris Hansen's house. The procedure is the same though, just shoot the red fuel tank until they both blow up, and then shoot the weak points. The damage is overall less than on the BTR, but all I have to do is pepper the tank until the commander, who is an utter moron, sticks his head out of the heavily armoured, almost impenetrable war machine to get a better look at me. I reward his supreme intelligence with a drug trip, and put him under new management whilst I confiscate his tank. If you're wondering, yes, Konami did in fact hide another POW in a very out of the way area, and yes, it's very boring to go and collect him. That done, I return to the prison camp and struggle check for MF trainees before voicing my severe objections to masonry by staging a public protest. Down with the big brick corporation. Oh, and MSF finally gets its hands on that curry and build a new plant to celebrate. Time for a quick break. I do full-time recovery 2 and 3 in the extra ops and pick up a couple more gold jumpsuit enthusiasts. After that I grab some bombastic classified intel and some new threads in retrieval classified intel. Okay, time to find us a truck. I sneak across an exceptionally well constructed bridge, sacrifice my love box to save a marigold lady in distress, and cause just a bit too much noise that ends quite predictably. After avoiding a rocket colonoscopy, I continue to the checkpoint for it. A few enforced nap times later, and I rescue the Amber Defender before heading into the depot. There's a number of trucks here, and you have to pick the right one. So naturally I find, in order, fish, metal gears, a beloved game director, and the right truck. Back at base, I finally remember to upgrade the M1911 and continue throwing development at the R&D team, as I misremembered some research requiring other research. Whilst the boys are busy doing science, I commit petty destruction of a supply crate owned by the Big Brick Corporation, do some target practice, and set research priorities in preparation to fight the Pupa. This autonomous AI weapon is based off of Soviet designs. It is an all-terrain, high-speed attack semi-hovercraft armed with machine guns and turbojets, as well as a head-mounted electric weapon that uses as much voltage as 2 English kettles. The tactic here is to call down ammo in a readily accessible place and shoot the AI pod for high damage. When she launches disc-shaped conductors, I pick an area close to her or against a wall and destroy a few of them to clear some space. Because of the low damage, I want to stay especially close to her for most of the fight. There is one problem though, and that's the damage. I threw myself at this fight for a while before realising I don't have enough bullets. At 604 damage normally, and 1686 damage on a critical hit, I can't deal enough damage to actually win this fight before I run out of ammo. Barring playing for hours to try and farm critical hits by sheer RNG chance, it's mathematically impossible. So, am I done? Is this actually as far as a single pistol can carry you? Sure, I'm only doing 604 damage, but I've been avoiding using the lethal option. That M1911 is still at rank 1. For those who don't know, in MGS PeaceWalker every weapon has 3 skill levels that improve your handling of a weapon. They're particular to every weapon and every rank of every weapon, and if I bump this up to level 3 I can, in terms of what I'm capable of, drastically improve my damage. Cue a very long session of headshot grinding back at the sniper training area. This place is ideal for my gun training purposes over Extra Ops 1 because the target dummies don't move very much and every shot to their head counts as a headshot. This provides the maximum amount of weapon skill gain I can muster in a short period of time. Back to the Pupa, and look at that damage. Regular hits are up 272 points to 879 damage, and critical hits are seeing a colossal improvement of 953 points to 2639. Absolutely nothing's gonna stop me now. I pop the hatch and steal what's left of Pupa's brain for my own nefarious purposes. This is becoming the mess hall's new arcade machine. So that's the first AI weapon down, but there's a problem for the next one coming up. I won't get any stronger version of this M1911, it only goes up to rank 2, and the custom version that fills in for ranks 3 and 4 won't be available until the post game. Hopefully, I'll find something else along the way. With the Pupa's destruction, I've now unlocked Outer Ops. These are small missions where the MSF is sent abroad to run very important errands or something. I've also put Huey to work, as he's probably going to be our most trustworthy and useful scientist. With everything else done, I assemble 3 teams in Outer Ops and send them to fight a couple of combat units. And thus begins Chapter 2. This area has lots of scouts poorly hidden in the grass, although they were much harder to spot back when I was playing this at 480x272 on a real PSP. It's laughably easy just to avoid them all, and I even take one of them to rub salt in the wound. It actually takes a very short time to get to the next boss area, but first, housekeeping. Team Charlie nets some box tanks, Bravo brings back some stun box tanks, and Alpha Team extracts design specs for strapping some kind of grenade launcher to the underside of a rifle. This sounds like a communist trick by the evil Big Brick Corporation to make my soldiers blow themselves up. So naturally, I throw it right in the bin. Time to swat a really big mosquito. As you'll notice here, the animations for the helicopter are really sped up. This is because of the 60 FPS patch. At the time I persisted anyway, but this erratic movement really does make fine aiming difficult, and it cuts some animation windows rather short. This boss can see you pretty much anywhere due to his elevated position, and the troops like to stay tightly clustered together, so stealth is rather tricky. The attack helicopter is equipped with heavy machine guns that will absolutely shred your health if you're out in the open, and it can also fire a barrage of missiles that really hurt and send you flying. Like on the other mech bosses, there are two big red fuel tanks. These get hit for much more damage and will eventually explode, stalling the helicopter. Generally, the best weak point is the cockpit. You can even blow off the canopy with an anti-material rifle. It took a few attempts, but eventually the captain decided to do the most intelligent, fourth-dimensionally smart play that he could possibly think of whilst piloting a heavily armoured and armed attack helicopter. That's right, he sticks his vulnerable little head out of the cockpit to start throwing grenades at me. The net result of this is that I get a second-hand helicopter. Back at base, my genius pilot is put on mess hall duty, and I hope that he can figure out which end of the knife to hold without cutting himself. I also unlock Wi-Fi scanning, but that isn't useful here. In Outer Ops, Team B returns wounded inside rescue boxes, which probably explains how they even survived. And rather inexplicably, Salamander has died, which is astounding since they were only going to the shop to pick up curry. Oh well, pour out a drink for Salamander. Before moving on, I told the science boys to make me some night vision goggles, which will be very handy later, and develop a Walkman, which I will never use. Picking up where we left off, I head all the way back to the start of the area to rescue the boy in the icterine pyjamas, and then resume going forwards, picking up a soldier on the way. Once I'm finally making progress again, I get back to the most important area of the game. This run to the lab has the best scouts you can get before the post game, so you'll be running this a lot if you want to build up your forces beforehand. They're also possibly the only B rank soldiers you'll be getting before the post game. After snagging some men who don't actually eat crayons for once, I pass through the ruins, picking up a couple of amber hostages as I go.
What? It won't open.
I can't believe our lovable Huey would be locked out of his own lab. This is absolutely terrible and unforgivable. Time to listen to Birdsong and get a new jacket. I pick up some soldiers and a saffron survivor along the way to the starting area, where I do the thing that Miller told me not to do. Fuck. Okay, this time I do it properly. I shake him down like he owes me money, and then take my rightfully deserved orange jacket via Fulton, and save the man who wears lemon lime full time. That done, it's all the way back to the lab where I progress through some cutscenes, wake up from a nap, and have a new boss battle on my hands. This part is where I finally figure out that I need to turn the frame rate down due to animation errors. The tactics stay the same. Use the runes for cover and try to kick the kidnappers out of the air whilst firing on the AI pod. As a countermeasure to hiding in enclosed spaces, the Chrysalis will perform a sweeping attack, using air pressure to kick dust up into my contact lens. This small L-shaped area near the beginning is pretty easy to hide in, and there's very few angles of attack that don't involve that air pressure sweep. Eventually, she goes down, and I climb inside to OSP, MSF, and new VHS. Afterwards, I do this fun little minigame where you have to shoot down waves of kidnappers for nothing very useful. Except it turns out it is very useful because that's where there are pistol schematics, and I have to do it again. Back at base, Pipefish died, but no one liked him. And Team Alpha, they trashed my helicopter! I am not impressed with the smoke shell box tanks they brought back as a substitution. Time to head to a new locale. It's a dusty mining site this time, and I make sure to endear myself to the locals with surprise drugs. They're not very happy about this, so I struggle to remember how you ledge grab in this game, whilst they cool off a bit.
What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill, I'm searching and I'll melt into you.
Well, after that nonsense, I serve some prisoners in very corny uniforms and commit a cross-game reference. Swapping back to gun and jungle, it's time for a fight. Compared to the previous AI weapons, Cocoon is a mobile fortress with more guns than the South American army. Once they're beaten, however, this is the second place that the run came to die. Unfortunately, I only managed to bust the Cocoon down to half health before I completely run out of ammo. I can't stress how big of a problem this is. There are no additional pistols at this point in the game. I checked. I've already got my guns at the maximum rank and levels, so I can't improve the damage any further, and at this point I can't get more ammo for the supply marker. So as far as the maths checks out, that's it, right? I can't possibly beat a boss if I can't do more damage than it has total health. Am I stonewalled by a titan of metal and bullets? Am I forsaken by Hideo-san? I was smashing headfirst into this brick wall for 2 days before I finally got ready to admit defeat. But then, I had a thought. The resupply boxes. They always contain 3 items consisting of ammo, equipment, and healing items. Now suppose I have 2 different kinds of ammo, then I need more than extra equipment or 2 rations. After a quick trip back to the sniper forest to level up the PM, I returned. It isn't an easy fight by far, and I have to have a good few attempts, but in the winning run I managed to keep my supply boxes in open areas, and eventually force Cocoon to crash into the cliff and drop her ladders. The hard part is climbing up the Cocoon.
What a thrill.
The missiles can be dodged by just weaving back and forth, and the Gatling guns can be dodged by standing near the AI pod or by laying straight down. Since I'm at point blank range, the damage is very good. The M1911 does 719 damage up close and 1439 damage on a crit. Even better, the faster firing PM does 899 damage and 2699 damage on a crit. It's a bit slow, but eventually I steal all the copper like someone who lives out of a caravan. Time to get sneaky again. I make a mockery of the search team and take a few along for good measure. After that, I do a quick sweep for hidden goodies before moving on. This repeats again until I get caught. Once the alert has been cleared, it's just a straight pass through to the final area. By which I mean I get caught again and given a shotgun hysterectomy. Thankfully, Snake does not have a womb, so this isn't fatal. Hey, remember this cutscene? Watch this. Would you believe I haven't done that in years? Now that wasn't just showing off, this gets us a secret item we'll need later. But first, I had to commit a war crime on my controller. Now that we're in the cell, I can use the ID card I swapped from Strangelove to just sneak out. Some chuckles get thrown around with CQC and I go exploring, reclaiming rations, releasing prisoners, and reducing voltage just because I can. Because, however, I am not a very sneaky person, I get caught almost immediately, and the shotgun surgeon wants to see what else he can try blowing off. To rectify this, I hide and then commit mandatory judo mentorship. After more running around, I save the Sunglaw prisoner and run out to the Peace Sentinel's hug house as quickly as I can. After chasing it all game, I come face to face with a PeaceWalker. This fight is fairly straightforward, thankfully. Run around the back and shoot the exposed AI pod until the whole thing keels over. PeaceWalker is equipped with S-mine launchers for wide area denial, and has a nasty flamethrower mounted underneath to fend off attacks from below. Fire damage drains stamina as well as health, so it should be avoided at all costs. Eventually, she starts going a little bit berserk, but I just stay out of the way and, with my final bullet, I win. Unfortunately, PeaceWalker is a hardy beast, and all I managed to do is make it unpack itself like a reverse Jenga tower. Before I can finish the fight, however, Hot Coldman draws PeaceWalker away and I'm unable to follow suit. With sweet, innocent Paz abducted by the evil Peace Sentinels, this mission and the next kinda blend together, and I go full murder hobo as I blast my way through their base. The soldiers here are heavily armoured, but thankfully the M1911 has enough grunt to pop the helmets in one shot, which the PM can't, needing usually 2 or 3 shots to get the job done. Because of reasons, I have to wait out the alert to use this elevator though. This brings me to the maintenance dock, a T-intersection comprised of a rail line and loading port. After taking longer than necessary, the final area is the top of a very tall building, with the communications tower in the distance. Whilst it's possible to toss guards down ladders, I work these 2 out to see if they're worth hiring, and then remind people why PPE laws exist. It's a quick trip up the every ladder, and then out to the end of the mission. And it's time to backtrack. This time I take a left at the intersection and go down the rail line, and once you get there, get ready for a boss battle. Question, viewer: who would win, a state-of-the-art attack gunship, or one man with 2 guns? Now, I'm actually really happy with how this fight went, so I'm going to leave the whole thing in, but you can skip it if you want. This gunship has a squad of troops for support and can destroy the walls being used for cover, but I have a pistol, and another pistol, and the sinking power of Donna Burke. So here it is, the end game. PeaceWalker starts out by going into launch mode, so I run over and dodge rockets whilst trying to proc a stumble on PeaceWalker. As you can see, this doesn't work. Houston, we have a problem. PeaceWalker's countdown timer is a hard damage gate. I've checked the extra ops unlock conditions. You can't get any more damaging pistols until you beat PeaceWalker. There are no higher grades of pistols I can unlock at this point, and both my guns are at max rank and level. Quite simply put, I do not have the firepower to knock PeaceWalker out of her launch phase. As an extra kick in the teeth, I have the design specs for the camp pistol, but before the post game, you cannot get an engineering team high enough to make the camp pistol. This boss, more than others, was made with heavy weapons in mind. So it's time to call in that last resort. I break up the strike marker pistol and... success! We're back on! Even at the expense of having to use a fallback weapon that's only technically a handgun, but hey, I made the rules and I said it was allowed. I'm seeing an issue though. I can only use it 3 times, and even after spam recruiting B-rank intel soldiers with more missiles, I can't knock her out of her launch phase with a handgun alone. And the higher intel level means the radius on the launch missiles has increased, so now it's even more unreliable instead of more useful. Keep in mind, this arena has 5 places where PeaceWalker can start a nuclear launch. From either end of the arena, the 2 gaps between the warehouses are from the sea. I can still knock her out of her launch phase if she launches from the sea though, so as long as RNG is on my side, I still win, right? Yeah, so I guess that's it then. There's just not enough damage to knock PeaceWalker out of her launch phase. The AI pod is too away for the range on these guns, and there's nothing to be done to upgrade them further. Quite simply put, the balance was set for much heavier weapons than this. So, no. You can't beat Metal Gear Solid PeaceWalker using only handguns.
It's not over. Not yet.
Look at the damage on the leg. 799 regular damage, 2399 damage on a critical hit. At nearly half the range, there is no damage drop off, and the legs have a weak spot on this front plating where there's no armour. This discovery saved a run that was a year in the making. The actual fight goes surprisingly well. All I have to do is stick to her front legs like glue while she's running on the waterfront. From close range I put bullets into the joint where I do maximum damage and try to avoid generally exploding, cooking or getting rammed. I absolutely can't be without ammo at this point, as her going into launch when I'm waiting on bullets could end my attempt, so I have to constantly be keeping supplies on hand. After another good few minutes we get to another launch phase, this time in the worst possible place, right behind the warehouse, and honestly, this is where I started to really worry. The damage getting to critical levels, and me being without any more resupply markers, PeaceWalker starts going totally haywire, and I try to keep pace. With no more additional ammo, my heart was absolutely racing at this point. When you've struggled with something for a very long time and you're just on the very edge of success, you tend to get very excitable. And no doubt after seeing this there was more than a few complaints from all of my yelling. I pull out PeaceWalker's memory boards to avert the launch. This doesn't work, so I throw all the ammo I can at PeaceWalker, and that also doesn't work. Okay, this is bad, but thankfully PeaceWalker takes care of itself, so I'm off the hook for this nuclear apocalypse that never was. And with that done, roll credits. Can you beat Metal Gear Solid PeaceWalker? Oh yeah, we still have the post game to deal with.
Snake, we've got a problem. Zadornov's not in his cell.
That was quick. I go looking for Mr. Professor Gru, and then start my very, very long search for the sneaky Russian, before finally remembering he's in a small building near the sorting shed.
Down.
So, you found me.
Weirdly, whilst doing some demolition, I get sidetracked by a weird creature on the beach. I am convinced I should go hunting though. MSF is running out of imported gourmet French rations, and it's up to me to find a new food source. As it turns out, this island has really big flying chickens on it and some kind of weird blue emu. The small fry look to be skin and bones, so I go after King Cluck. Repulus is an easy boss, with his worst attack being flying out of range for minutes at a time. During normal gameplay, he just stomps around and attempts to charge into me, but I am capable of lateral movement. He also hovers around and spits flaming rocks, presumably because of indigestion. Finally, he'll do a low pass over the ground, sending everything flying in all directions. Now, while some may call it absolutely, I decided there's no reason not to make the best use of a hot, deserted island and have a quick barbecue until Repulus wants to come back down. Then it's just a simple loop of keep the emus asleep and don't get stood on by the mega chicken. Now I might hear you saying, is it not marginally dangerous to be eating meat that we have hunted with tranquilizer darts? The answer is, don't worry. MSF soldiers have had drug resistance training, and the effects of the tranquilizers have shown no effects on their cognitive functions. Eventually, the big chicken goes down and MSF will be fed for days. Days, I tell you. Unfortunately, whilst the prison guard was away getting his Repulus wings meal deal for $1, for $2 whole only at Kazuhira Burger, Zadornov escaped again, presumably lured out of his cell by the delicious smell of dino fries. Now, I should note, I do not think that Repulus is a dinosaur. It is clearly some kind of mutant chicken, but this month's birthday guard's got to pick out the name. Time to go find our geriatric wanderer before he gets himself hurt. I appropriate someone's carelessly stashed snack, and the guard's, and a war crime, before grabbing the not-so-sneaky professor. He makes a terrible shrubbery, so I search him and send him home. You know, I'm starting to see why they're dumb enough to let a disabled old man escape twice. Maybe we really should be washing out those tranquilizers. Anyway, you can hold a banana just like a handgun, so it still counts. Not only this, and SVD specs, but Hold Up 1 is a quick mission. Look how not long it takes. See? Blink and you'll miss it. Oh boy, we need to expand the menu. Thankfully, I found this weird, giant, scaly bat thing. It must have grown to immense proportions to account for the complete lack of any cave system to hang from. Now, Tigrex is really loud, which makes sense because sonar is loud. I forgot my earplugs, but thankfully, all the gunfire means that I'm half deaf anyway. As with the other hunting missions, I put the Blue Emu group to sleep and focus on the source of my next steak dinner. Tigrex has the brain about as small as the average MSF soldier, so all he's really capable of doing is shouting, screaming, and running into things. As well as roaring, charging, and jumping, Tigrex can do large, leaping attacks and likes to throw dirt at me, which is so rude I tend to fall over in sheer shock. Who wouldn't? This BDU was just dry cleaned before I got on the boat. I play catchy chase with the big bat creature for a little while and eventually knock it out cold. Load it onto the barge, Kaz. We're having tig steak for dinner. Kaz?
Zadornov has disappeared from his cell.
I can only assume Zadornov was left unattended whilst playing checkers again. We really should install a fake bus stop outside of the base. Maybe he'll wait there until we can pick him up again. I fly out to the river and abduct the local peeping toms as I go, doing a quick check around the waterfall for hidden goodies. All I find is a very desperate job seeker in a sunglow suit, but he seems very happy that his CV has finally been accepted. Ahead in the ruins I do a clean sweep, a clean brush, and a clean polishing of the marble, picking up a sunset maid imprisoned there after a BDSM session gone terribly wrong. Oh, and Zadornov. He was behind a tree back at the waterfall, remember? Don't worry, I didn't forget about him. I also get sent to go speak to Paz on the beach, which ends entirely wholesomely.
Peace. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Peace. Yeah. Yeah. Room for one more?
It's a back massage and you have no proof. Oh yes, Mr. Hanson, I would like a seat. It looks very comfortable. Who are your friends? There. No comment. I said no comment! As part of my plea deal, I have to go on a solo mission to save some researchers. This goes smoothly, and I even managed to steal some new threads. Please don't tell my parole officer I'm on thin fucking ice.
Snake?
Don't tell me. Zadornov.
Bingo.
Knowing that Zadornov was supposed to be attending a doctor's appointment for his hand stump, I get dropped off near town and sneak my way in. I'm still on the blacklist after that little bit of uncivic demolition work. The guards in town are free, you know. You can just pick them up and take them home with you. I do a quick check for anything I missed and then start doing a bit of knock-a-door running around the place, quickly finding the door knocker.
Curses.
Whilst development gets done at base, I go and avert an extraction mission. Don't worry, their balloons turn into really good parachutes after they pop. These guys are just fine. Intel stuff at the base let me know they found the location of my parole officer. Time to get some dirt so I can get out from under this jerk's thumb. I sneak around his boathouse and take some incriminating pictures. That's right, no one who does calisthenics deserves any amount of respect. With my continued freedom secured and this really nice camera I got, I received a tip that there's real life ghosts in the old loading dock. I have no idea what could have caused such torment as to leave the place haunted, but I do know that ghosts are totally real. Unlike dinosaurs, all it takes to prove the existence of ghosts is one really good picture. So, how much trouble could it really be? Using the latest in technology that I never use, I pick up some carelessly discarded threads and then the ghost's trail, baiting it into making an appearance. Look, see? A real ghost. What do you mean it looks like a development error? Getting back to base, I show everyone my foot.
Snake, you're not gonna believe
Damn
this,
it.
but
Yeah.
Zadornov's missing again.
How hard is it to watch a Russian grandpa? Whilst I search, I send my trusted Lieutenant Gerbil to go deal with an assault on the old heliport. He does a fantastic job of getting shot for me, as you can see by the drone footage. And Kaz said spying on the troops would be a terrible idea. Back on the hunt, I check Zadornov's last known location in town but come up empty. Time to broaden the search. Heading towards the Canyon Crater base, I pick up soldiers as I go and find out there's a platoon of peace sentinels holding Grandpa Zadornov hostage. I valiantly assault their fortress base and head into the truck depot. Searching truck by truck, I find Zadornov just before he's shipped out to a Soviet old folks gulag. Thank goodness for that. With the old man back in his room, I get informed some prankster has set Claymore landmines all over the forest. That place is a nature reserve now. Clearly, the TikTok generation has zero common sense, so I go around and carefully disarm all the lethal munitions for the sake of public safety. Also, did you know that mission has a new and improved weapon for me? It's actually my first post-game handgun. Because I didn't! I go back and check. It takes me 3 attempts to remember where the damned thing is. I finally get my hands on the M1911 Custom and return to base.
Listen, Zadornov's done it again.
Come on.
Ah, damn it, Zadornov. I get shipped out to the mining facility and go poking around for goodies. I even go checking under all the new conspicuous shipping boxes. As it turns out, Zadornov just accidentally shipped himself cross country. We were worried for nothing.
How could I be so stupid?
I get a new weapon to develop and then go to do some full-time recovery.
Happened again.
Zadornov left his special emergency transmitter at home, which leaves me very little to go on. Deciding to wait and see if he comes home on his own, I get a bunch of extras out the way. First up is the site of a massacre. The spirits of these soldiers are still hanging around though, so I begin immediate resuscitation. The whole operation turns out to be a wild success, and I save lives in the process. But first, let me tell you about this custom M1911. The feeding ramp is polished to a machine, the slides being reinforced, and the interlock with the frame has been tightened for added precision. The sight system is also original, and the thumb safety is extended to make it easier on the finger. It has a long type trigger with non-slip grooves and a ring hammer, plus the base of the trigger guard has been filed down for a higher grip. And not only that, but nearly every part of this gun has been expertly crafted and customised. So yeah, it's a good gun. My new gun is able to be made better, so I put the science boys to work on that instead of the small part 1 collector thingy. I don't know, they keep using weird long words. I think it might be a waste of resources. Unfortunately, we still haven't balanced the doorknob, and in utter grief I remember I never picked up the free t-shirt in the gun range. I'm going to grab that.
Head over to the exit.
Hey, wait, who is that? I go up to investigate.
Big boss.
It's Zeke. It's moving.
What?
There's somebody inside. I can see them. Snake, get up here. Pronto.
Well, that's not good. Who could be stealing my war machine? Oh, it's Paz. Well, time to pack 2 pistols. Let's wrap this up.
She's gonna launch a nuke. Snake, we've got to stop her. Whatever it takes. Awaiting your orders.
Hey Miller, cue the J-pop already.
Stop me if you can.
Paz has the full capabilities of everything fitted to Zeke, which admittedly I left in the background of this video as its only real use was to make sure this mission was unlocked and for some extra ops farming. But what about Zeke's attacks? It's fitted with a backpack missile launcher, dual machine guns, railgun and jet boosters. If I had the means it would have been a very different setup, and honestly I should have taken the boosters off as I don't really like how cheap that attack is. The strategy here is just fire on the legs from anywhere. Just get right up in her grill and fire. And when she's far out of range, just attack the AI pod instead. The railgun gets used only at extreme ranges, so just hide behind a computer console and fire back. It's free damage, so just attack with impunity. The machine guns are basically an afterthought, and the missiles are only slightly harder to dodge, but if I keep moving then I can reliably avoid them, as they only know where they are, not where I'm not. The jet boosted dash attack is the hardest to avoid, but there's a bit of a safe zone behind the transport catapult console. Thanks to said console, there's pretty much no need to worry about ammo in this fight. For the first and almost only time, this is just an endurance test. What follows is 24 minutes and 46 seconds, nearly half an hour, of fighting Paz Twiloop of Koi no Yokushi Yoku, a feat that proves the weapon to surpass Metal Gear is in fact Japanese psychological warfare. But the health pips tick down one by one until it's just me and a mad dash to deal the last blow. With 59 bullets left, I finally prove that yes, you can indeed beat Metal Gear Solid PeaceWalker with only handguns. It does seem a shame I never got any better weapons though, and I did just unlock the revolver. There's only one thing left to do. go on a holiday, and I'm not just the place. See, even the emus are hungry. Oh my god. Clearly, as it turns out, dumping all of that yellow cake into the sea has resulted in a minor case of severely super irradiated mutant axolotl. This strange creature that the intel team is for some reason calling Gear Rex has a monumental stamina pool. As well as stomping around, it likes to crack these incredibly dense spines off of its back and throw them. Not only do they keep getting in the way, these spines resonate with Rex's roar, causing one hell of a headache and minor hearing loss. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure this isn't permanent damage. The only other massive concern is that disgusting tumour on the shoulder. Yeah, yuck. That fluid doesn't even physically hurt. It's all psychological damage. It's disgusting. Thankfully, the fight goes by pretty steadily. Just avoid the spines and goo and the tantrum stomping whilst putting a whole lot of tranquilizers into the beast. There's little point trying to keep the emus down, but it doesn't hurt to try and keep them out of the way. Eventually, the beast falls, but we can't load it onto the barge and it's too heavy for the helicopter to carry, so we just leave it behind. I'm sure this won't be a problem in the slightest. This is, after all, its natural habitat, and I'm sure it will be very happy here. Next up, wanting to do some damage. And with that out of the way, I can finally...
Last night, a Gear-X came ashore on the southern Pacific coast of Costa Rica. From there, it headed north and reached the vicinity of Irasu's crater around noon today. As of now, it's stopped moving. Costa Rica doesn't have an army to deal with threats this big. We're getting dozens of reports of damage to nearby houses and other buildings. For the sake of peace in Costa Rica, we need you to head to the crater and get the Gear-X under control.
So, it turns out the weird axolotl tried following us home. I guess he must have smelled my home cooking. We can't afford to feed the little guy though, so I head down to the crater base. He hits a little harder for some unidentified reason, but at least this time I have proper equipment. So I put him back to Betty Bars and just throw him into the sea again. There. Problem solved, and no one needs to tell the Costa Rica Wildlife Board.
There could be a second or even third Gear-X out there.
With that done, I think it's time to finally...
Believe this. Suddenly we've got a Gear-X on board Mother Base, and it's raising hell up on the deck. I don't know what we did to piss it off, but this is the biggest crisis in MSF's history. We need you to hunt it down and save our outer heaven.
Oh. Oh, that's not good. Gear-X has become a grave threat and must be put down for the safety of everyone on the base, and for the sake of property prices in the local area. Plus, the HOA will not be pleased if we have mutants running amok. How hard could it possibly be? Well, let's see. It would take me an hour to do this fight. So what's the unlock chain for the C96? Machine pistol go brrrr. How's that for a speed run, you ugly amphibian? Well, that's everything I'm willing to do. This was a wild ride, one I'm glad I undertook. If you sat here and watched the whole thing, you are a very impressive masochist. Although admittedly, I cut out a lot of fluff just to get the damn video out. That'll teach me to set a deadline.